Parish family, this is Father Panteleimon offering a little spiritual video reflection for the week. Just following up on last week. So if you recall, the last two videos I put out were sort of a commentary on a document that the Youth and Young Adult Ministry of the Archdiocese, their office, had put out a while back entitled Exodus from Orthodoxy. And I'll pull that up right now, with the subtitle, Are Young Adults Leaving the Church and What Can We Do About It? And what I did two sessions ago, two videos ago, I just read through this page. And basically this page is it's sort of a deconstruction of a study that was done by the National Study of Youth and Religion. And basically what it said was that there were sort of three things they found in the lives of young people who stayed in the church. They were sort of the main things that were common to all of this group. And basically they were, as you can see, that the faith was practiced at home, that the young person knew someone else who was not a part of their family, who was serious about their faith. And lastly, that the young person had a spiritual experience of their own somehow in the faith. And last video, I started to talk about point number one, that the faith was practiced at home. And I mentioned three things, as you may recall. One was that basically that prayer was going on at home, basically that mom and dad, to put it real simply, every night, mom and dad gathered the family around the prayer corner and said prayers together as a family. That's something we can all do, something we should all be doing, really. The second thing was fasting, which again is really something that should just be a part of the fabric of our life as Orthodox Christians, right? So as an Orthodox family, we should on Wednesdays and Fridays, we shouldn't be having meat and animal products. And that's what our kids should grow up seeing, and that's what our kids ideally should grow up doing year round. And by the way, not just during the lead up to Easter, but 52 weeks of the year, that's what we should be doing. And the last thing I mentioned was going to Holy Confession. And I mentioned in particular that, as parents, we should literally get everybody in the car, go to the church, make an appointment, and everybody goes to confession, not just the kids, but mom and dad too. I know a lot of times I have young people come to me, but their parents aren't coming. And I think there's something wrong with that. And our kids, when we do that, if we do that, our kids see that and they see a disconnect, which I think is, there is something wrong. Why are mom? So what it implies, I think, is that once I get old enough to be an adult, I no longer have to go to confession, which I think is very problematic. What I want to do now is just talk about two additional things that I think are relevant and important. They're kind of smaller things, but they're good. One is visiting holy places, particularly monasteries. We have a lot of monasteries, not just Greek, but Russian and Romanian and Antiochian. And I think oftentimes it's really good to go to monasteries with our family. I can tell you, every year my family and we take a pilgrimage to a Russian monastery where we've gotten to know the monastery and the monks there, and it's really edifying. And I find that when I leave, I am strengthened in my faith, and I see very clearly that when my kids leave, they have just kind of a new skip in their spiritual step, as it were. I think when we see people who have really given up everything, which is what a monastic is doing, to follow Christ, I think it really can be a powerful image for all of us, but particularly for our kids. So that's something I think we should do. I think that's something we should carve time out in our annual vacation calendar to spend a few days at a monastery with our family. And then the last thing that I would offer is, and this is something, again, sometimes we're intimidated because we think, well, I don't have a master's in theology, so I can't do anything. And that's just couldn't be further from the truth. The last thing is reading. So, and what I mean by that, and again, I'll tell you what we do, oftentimes when we're all together for dinner, which doesn't happen as often as I would like, but when we do have that happen, I have a book that I'll be reading. Sometimes it's a Life of a Saint. If it's a feast day that day, maybe it'll be the feast day, the story of that day, or, if it's feast day of the Holy Transfiguration, I'll read a little bit about that day. Sometimes it's just a very simple theological book that I have that I read to the kids. And what I do is literally we do it at dinner. So we say prayers before we eat. We sit down, and when everybody starts eating, I'll read, 2, 3, 4 pages of this book. I don't spend the whole time doing it. I just spend a little time doing it. But the kids are quiet because they're eating, they got food in their mouth, they're chewing. And so this is a great opportunity for us, not only to feed ourselves physically, but to feed our kids and our family and ourselves spiritually. So those are just the last 2 items I kind of want to throw out there. So just by way of review, praying as a family, fasting as a family, going to confession as a family, all the family members going to confession at the same time, so that our kids can see that we're doing it and that we take it seriously. Taking pilgrimages to holy places, to monasteries particularly, I would say. And then lastly, finding a good book, a good Orthodox book of a saint's life or something edifying, but at an appropriate level for our children, obviously. And reading it at the dinner table, just finding a little time to kind of read and learn about our faith. So anyway, that's all I have. And we will connect again in a few days, I'm sure, I hope. All right. God bless you. And may our Lord watch over and keep you all. Have a good day.